Here you are, jogging. Beautiful weather indeed, and you're looking good too, I might add. The blood is pumping, and so are these AAA podcast vibes.
Mitsuki, I want to take my balls out and lube up your head.
That is until your favorite podcast ends. Now you'll be left with no choice but to listen to the placid magnificence of nature. But you're a stink meaner, and you think nature can go get fucked.
Man, this some old bullshit.
If only you had the AAA podcast's extra content, you wouldn't be forced to enjoy nature at all. We'd carry you all the way through the rest of your jog with our hentai episodes, our hobby addicts, and our after parties. Over 900 additional episodes of content. You think jogging gets your blood pumping? Just wait till you listen to some hentai episodes. And you'll be helping out the podcast as well. Plus, your grumpy ass won't be chasing birds anymore. Shut up, you noisy little shit. Don't be grumpy. Head over to aapodcast.com/join or patreon.com today and help out the podcast. Again, that's aapodcast.com/join or Patreon.
Get ready! You're about to listen to the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. Make your anime addiction worse at aapodcast.com. And now, here are your anime addicts.
Well, howdy, partner, and welcome to the episode... No, I'm not going to do that voice anymore. That was a disaster. Episode 623 of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast, where me and my friends are strong, muscly friends. You're a strong, muscly friend as well. We try to make everyone's anime addiction so much worse. With me today is not Caroline. You know, she's out there probably searching for some separatable, chocolate-filled plastic recreation of chicken droppings. So I don't know what she's really up to, but with me, as you just heard, was the incredibly stacked and stoked and just cool-looking dude, Mitsuki. How's it going?
Mitsuki in the house. I have in front of me, yes, very fantastic, a Mitsuki-owned creation, a Chick-fil-A lemonade with vodka.
What?
Chick-fil-A lemonade with vodka and muddled raspberries. Very fantastic.
Oh, that's fancy. As everyone knows, without me even needing to show it, welcome to the podcast, by the way. My name's Mason, if you're a new listener. We're drinking water because we have that. That's just kind of the person I am. It's just I have that characteristic of being nothing. I'm just so forgettable. But nonetheless, we thank everyone for joining us today on this lovely Sunday where we stream live on Twitch, where you can always find us at AAA Podcasts. Here's, I think, where we normally plug the Twitters and the TikToks and the Facebooks and the Discords, but I'm not going to do that because I just did it. Haha, you've been had. This episode will be quite a trip. We'll be doing a mailbag catch-up of sorts.
Oh, boy.
Just because, you know, they pile up. You can go to our website at AAA Podcast and submit your questions and desires and whatever it is you want to say.
Your desires.
And sometimes they stack up a bit and we feel like we got to do some spring cleaning. So that's what we're doing today, as well as a look at a movie you might not have heard about in my Unexplored Pictures segment, as well as a review of we've been doing a ton of second seasons, but we have the second season of 86 on the docket for today, so a lot to go through. But how you doing, Mitz? How you feeling? How you vibing?
I'm still basking in the glow of my recap of the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 movie and Hobby Addicts.
Ooh, that was a good one.
I'm probably the biggest Sonic fan anybody listening knows, and everybody should go see the movie. Jim Carrey, please don't retire. We love you. We love you very much. You are a perfect Robotnik, and you'll forever be in my heart as Ace Ventura. Thank you.
There we go. You heard him, Jim. Anyway, we got a lot of anime stuff to get to today, so do we want to kick it off?
Sure, let's do it.
It's time for big news of the week.
I really don't have any big news. I saw an article about Japan's top 7 regional hamburgers, and I just wanted to see how many of these you would eat, Mason. Pretty much.
Okay,
that's it.
I was going to say, this is probably the least big news segment we'll ever do.
Yeah, there wasn't much news. I mean,
lay it on me.
All right, so here this burger, I have it up on on the Twitch. The burger is named the Okitsune Honpo, named after the restaurant in Toyokawa City that sells it for $2.83. It is.
I mean, if any burger is under $4, I'll probably eat it without question. Like, there's just I'm a simple man.
We'll find out. I mean, it is from Aichi Prefecture, which it is made of dried tofu. I believe the bun looks like it's dried tofu, and let's see, it's got fried tofu on it, simmered in a special sauce as the bun, and inside is crispy lettuce, crispy onions, and crispy pork cutlet. For a thoroughly crispy event, I should say, since that is the word used to describe everything in it. Mason, based on the photo, would you eat this hamburger?
So, funny. I'm on the site. I can only see it on like the top of my screen. Is this the top right one on the header?
It's number 6 if you scroll down.
Okay, it's the one I'm thinking. Well, when I scroll down, the pictures aren't loading because Google Chrome is betraying me in my moment of need. But I see it on the Twitch chat. I see it on here. This one looks okay. It seems like it'll be a lot of dryness.
Okay.
Not enough moisture to get me going. That said, at that price, I'm assuming this is a very small burger.
It looks small. It is Japan. They tend to have small food, so.
I mean, yes, that would be going into my mouth hole without question. Yes,
all right.
Yes.
All right. The next burger, I'm only going to do 3 of these because people don't want to hear about all of them. The next burger is on the Twitch as well. It is the Utsunomiya vegetable gyoza burger from Tochigi. It's from a chain called Freshness Burger, which I've been to before. It's a nationwide chain, but it's also known for its gyoza. So this is basically topped with spicy shrimp sauce, leeks, and shisol, which I don't know what shisol is. I click the link. Oh, shisol is shisol and cherry blossom flavored gin.
Isn't it just
it's just a flavor. Japanese basil is what that is.
Okay, yeah.
So it's got basil, gyoza, shrimp sauce, and leeks on it for $3.96 or 490 yen. Mason, would you eat this?
I mean, it's under $4, so yes. I think this is. I mean, if you're not seeing this because you're. Who listens to podcasts these days? Who doesn't watch their podcast? Anyway, it just looks like, 4 gyoza on top of a very artificial looking bun with a bed of lettuce. I just feel like this would be better gyoza. Like, why does this need to be in a burger? That said, yeah, why wouldn't I eat this? It sounds fine. That bun looks so fake though.
So you would eat it?
Yes, I would eat this.
What
I mean,
wouldn't
it's under
you
$4. Eat? I mean,
it has to be.
It would have to be a pretty egregious collection of ingredients. So essentially anything from McDonald's would be the off-putting enough for me. The only thing I wouldn't eat is what more people in the world eat than any other burger. So I guess that's how it is.
In that case, the last one here we'll do is from Koishihama. It's the Koishihama Scallop Burger from Iwate Prefecture. It is sold for 1,030 yen or $8.32 by the Burger Hearts Company in the city of Ofunato. So it looks like it is the burger that consists mainly of a thick and creamy croquette filled with fresh scallops caught right out of the fishing port by the restaurant. What do you think?
Yeah, it's very vertical. This is a very upright burger. This is one of those ones where you would try to squelch it down to get it between your massive jaws. And even then, you'd kind of have to, this would be an awkward, eating experience. That said, I don't think it will surprise anybody that this is definitely going down the gullet. Like, I love scallops. Wow. This looks the best of the 3, if I'm being honest.
Oh, I agree, actually. The sauce looks very juicy.
Yeah, I will emerge from this just covered in like grease and sauce and just my own like, I don't know, disrespect. But yeah, I'm sure it's not for everyone, but
Mason will eat that one too. I'm gonna do one more here just to see if you'll eat it. It is the Kitakata ramen burger from Fukushima Prefecture. It is $4.04. So we're just outside of the $4 limit.
Yeah.
So this was given the honor of the #1 burger in Japan. It has toppings. It has ramen toppings like stewed pork, Naruto fish cake, fermented bamboo shoots that are all sandwiched in 2 buns made of Kitakawa ramen noodles, imbued with thick taste of soy sauce and pork bone. So your bun is actually noodles.
Which I've had before. I've had ramen burgers before where they like have like the compressed noodles making up the bun part of things. And listen, I'm not opposed to like atypical bun ingredients. You mentioned that it's thick, which is the best thing ever. This is the #1 in Japan, and it's a shade over $4. Like, what about this do you think I would not be in for?
I don't know.
Were any of these burgers not driving with you?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I didn't think the first one looked all that good,
like fried tofu, it could be hit or miss.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's so small. It's just a snack.
I'd eat it. They're not. None of them seem offensive, but anyway, that's all I had for today. I just wanted to throw something fun in there because there's not jack shit for news. So, what do you got, Mason?
Well, my news was equally not upsetting, but actually not upsetting at all because it's actually kind of cute. There was an April Fool's joke that went out, which had a Jujutsu Kaisen, obviously world beloved new shonen show that's kind of actiony and violent. There was an April Fool's crossover where they were shown in some illustrations posing with one of my near and dear to my heart shows, which is Puri Puri Molcar, the stop motion fuzzy wuzzy Netflix show where you had these big I know what anthropomorphic is, like making animals into like humans. What is the
humanoid
word for making making animals into cars? What's that?
Automorphic.
That word. Well, there we go. You heard it here first.
I don't know.
But it's giant drivable guinea pigs, and that show is amazing. But I guess this April Fool's joke is not simply that, and that there is a website, JujutsuMolcarCollab.com, where in the future there will be merchandise of a crossover between Jujutsu Kaisen and Puri Puri Molcar. It's everything I didn't know I wanted in the world, and I want it right now. So I'm going to stay tuned, and you can too, for whatever comes out of that, because it's a thing. It's just like these burgers. Why did these things come together? Nobody knows. Does anybody like it? Time will tell, but I'm curious.
I don't know. I like little, the hell are they? I guess they're moles. I like little moles made into cars. They're cute.
Yeah.
I don't know how Jujutsu Kaisen's going to fit in with that, but you know what? Fuck it. Let's go.
We're rolling with everything today. Everything is good and acceptable, and we're getting all our positivity out before we get into our reviews, because who knows how that will go. Anyway.
Oh, boy. Okay, well.
More to come, but let's jump into... This is just a free-flowing episode today. Yeah. Usually, listener, we're a little more structured than this, but you know what? We're hanging loose. We're just drying it out, just having a good ride. So we're going to get into our main topic, which is mailbag catch-up, or Mailbag Madness, as I've decided to call it madness, because we're actually not going to catch up, because you guys are really good, and you leave lots of good mailbags, and we can't answer all of them at once, and some of them we decided either to save until Caroline returns because we want her perspective, or just there were some that were kind of similar and we want to space them out, or they were from the same person. We're trying to give everyone some love on the show today. So we will run through as many as we can get done in our allotted non-set amount of time.
Yep.
And Caroline has actually been nice enough to respond to some of them that she wanted to, so you might even get some bonus content from her. And we'll just run through it. How's that sound?
Would you like a mailbag drop?
I think we need to, especially because we're not going to do it later.
For an almighty anime mailbag. Anime.
Mailbag. This drink is really good. This could be sold at a restaurant easily.
I mean, it could be sold at like Chick-fil-A, but outside in the parking lot.
Yeah, well, it is Chick-fil-A, but they'd be very upset because I'm drinking vodka with it, which I don't think they... Well, I don't know. All right, well, this first mailbag is from Raggedy Doctor, who is very active on the Discord, and you all should join the Discord because if you don't, I'll be sad. So that's all there is to it. Raggedy Doctor writes, "Hey AAA hosts, do you ever feel like there are anime you have to watch outside of reviews, of course, not because you want to, but because you feel like you need to? A show or movie you put on so that you don't fall behind the times, or something older you missed out on, maybe because it doesn't hold up so well anymore. I'd like to call it nerd homework. I eagerly await your thoughts." Mason.
I don't like the idea of nerd homework being a thing because at the end of the day, anime, as with most entertainment things, are just that. You shouldn't ever be like, as much as I'm like, oh, you should watch this before you do this, blah, 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 elitist, whatever. Obviously, it shouldn't be a chore. You should watch whatever comes to your mind and whatever you want and you're interested in. That said, I personally tend to do this myself because I just, whenever I get into any medium, whether it be anime or video games or music, I feel like I want to learn as much about it as possible. And even if someone's like, oh, this, Beatles album was really revolutionary and was kind of set the tone for the next couple decades of British wave rock music, even if I wasn't a fan of that album, I would be like, okay, I want to hear where stuff came from and learn more about whatever it is I'm experiencing. And doing a podcast kind of makes me want to do that. So I do it sometimes, but I just feel like, I don't know, I have fun doing that. So like the last thing, for example, I watched Amagi Brilliant Park. Not a terrible show by any means, but I mainly watched it because I like Kyoto Animation and I wanted to see what have they been putting out, what's their style. And if I obviously didn't do a review on it, I probably wouldn't have continued it for like enjoyment purposes, but I just wanted to know how their style has evolved over the years. So it happens, and I don't mind doing it, but it's not for everyone. And I would never say, oh, you have to do it.
Two good examples of this are, I didn't watch all of it, but I watched some of it. I watched the first chunk of the Legend of the Galactic Heroes original one because there's so much talk about it. It's supposed to be so good. Mason loves it.
Yeah, it's so good.
The new seasons were coming out, and so I felt obligated. I've also watched some Ghibli movies, not because I wanted to, but because I felt like I needed to, just to say I've seen them all. Because I knew that like Tales from Earthsea was going to be a bad movie. I watched it; it was kind of boring. There's some older ones that I had missed, along the way, like Only Yesterday. I watched that because I felt like not because I really wanted to see it, but because I wanted to make sure I had seen all the Ghibli stuff. And that's actually a really good movie. So, that's a bit different, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like, and honestly, I feel like that's how it was with the recent Jujutsu Kaisen movie that I saw. It's like, I wanted to see it. It was in theaters. This stuff doesn't happen all the time. I wanted to talk about it on the podcast, and I wanted to be hip, and I wanted to be in with the cool kids. You know what I'm saying?
You're bussin', Mitz. You're real bussin'.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know what that means, but I've taken it as a compliment.
Caroline responded to this as well. Who pretty much summarized that like doing the podcast reviews usually cover all the big shows, and even the shows that we have kind of put a cap on reviewing. She has an interest in watching them anyway, like Attack on Titan or Fruits Basket. So usually just being on the show forces us to be up to date on a lot of things. So obviously we're going to guilt her for not watching Noragami yet, but hey, we'll get there. We'll get there. Thank you for the question, and you have a ton of them, Raggedy Doctor, so we will get to them in time. But the next one comes from, it's me, not me, but it's you, the person who submitted this. Firstly, I'm very confused about your takes on Sunny Boy. The actual plot was pretty understandable for the most part, and everything ended up back in the world. Okay. So I'll just address that first. Like, I get that you can't like boil down complexity based on the fact that like they begin and end in like the same finishing points. Like there's a lot of the twists and turns along the way. I didn't think it was super difficult, but there was a lot of metatextual, conceptual, sci-fi things going on in the background that can trip people up. So I like the show. I think it's great, but I think being like, oh, it's simple, it's so obvious. Like, I don't know. I get why people were upset by it. Also, they write, Caroline looks exactly like I'd expect. Mitsugi should cosplay Professor X, and Mason's voice and his looks don't match at all. So I'm sorry to disappoint.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know what's worse, but I do have a face for podcasting.
What were you supposed to look like?
I don't know, but this is not it.
Okay. You missed the mark. Sorry. Try again.
I did.
Go be born all over again.
I should change my voice or I don't know what I need to do, but I'm here. Have you ever done any Professor X, like gone to a costume party like that?
Fuck no. What do I look
too
like?
lazy, you just
a nerd?
go around in a wheelchair. That's how you get those arm gains. Your legs are sapping all your strength.
Do I look like a nerd to you?
No,
Never.
No, don't beat me up. No, don't do it.
As I just kissed my Mega Man, my light up Mega Man thing on camera.
That's true.
They're making a Mega Man movie too, I think. And I just want to say Mega Man has the potential to be a pretty good action movie. I mean, the whole thing is like cyborgs fighting. I mean, it could be awesome if they don't fuck that up, but they will.
They should get the oh my goodness, the Proto Men to do the soundtrack for that movie.
Oh, I'd be down for that. That movie could have amazing music. Do not fuck this up, whoever's doing it. I will haunt you forever.
Sure. What's next?
Next is from Key to You, Christian. I started watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure recently, and I love it. Do I have like a... Oh, no! I tried both sub and dub, and I really think the English voice acting is well done. I continued with the dub into part 3, which I just played a clip from part 3, but it's not dubbed. How would you choose to watch the show, and who is one of your favorite non-Joestar characters? Right now, mine is Speedwagon in part 1. Mason?
I mean, to answer the first question, I watch the English sub because that's how I do most things. Besides, if I did that, I wouldn't get great English like in the drop you just heard or all the other moments in that show. I guess I haven't heard the dub to compare, but the sub is just what I know and love, so that's what I'm going with. But since it's Easter today, happy Easter for those who celebrate it, I'm going to go with Jesus as the best non-Joestar JoJo character.
What?
That's right, Jesus Christ. He gets the nod today, only because it's
Jesus
his day
Christ.
today. Exactly. It's a little bit of a deeper cut in later JoJo's, which you will all hopefully get to see one day. But yeah, Jesus, just one day you get a pass.
For me, I don't know. It's like usually the subs are better, but it's easier to watch dubs sometimes, you know. But if I'm laying in bed late at night and I got, you know, and Pancake's sleeping, and I'm like, you know, watching anime later than I should be, I'll put the subtitles on just so I can lower the volume to like barely audible so I can read it, you know, because I'm trying to be courteous, you know, but
of course,
you know, but like this, for example, with 86 for this week, I watched it dubbed mostly because, you know, it's easier, it's quicker that way, and you know, then of course the dubs always run out and I end up having to watch the last like 4 episodes subtitled, but you know, I don't know. I think I've watched most of the JoJo stuff subtitled, but I think I don't want to say Dio is my favorite non-Jo. Does he count? He's got like Jonathan's body or some shit.
I was gonna say Dio's definitely up there for me. As big of a scumbag as he is, he's pretty great for the meme culture and just he just has his fingerprints on every part.
Yeah. I like Stroheim though. He's pretty cool. I like his music. He's very hilarious. So I'm gonna go with that.
Mitz's favorite character is the Nazi. Got it? Take a note.
Take notes.
He's pretty great too. Yeah, so you're not going to get that in the dub. Actually, I don't know. Maybe they do it really well.
I hope they did. So you're up, Mason. Next question.
Yes, this is coming from the King of Telluride. Howdy, folks. This is the King of Telluride out of Denver, Colorado. Oh boy. and I just joined the Patreon as the bonus content piqued my interest.
You
Dude,
goddamn
thank
right,
you so
son.
much.
Get it?
You truly are a king now, my friend. I love what you guys do and hope you continue spreading that sweet anime love.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a big time degenerate and enjoy ecchi and lewd content and recently started Yosuga no Sora. Within the first episode or two, I was immediately shocked from all the incest content and even got embarrassed while watching. Have you ever seen the show, Mitz? Yosuga no Sora?
No Sora, no. Let me type it in here. Maybe I have seen it. I don't know. I'm old.
Yeah,
I
go to
forget
Safe
things.
Search, Control Shift N. This is obviously a show you do not share with your friends, family, and partners. My question for you is, if you have a show that you are personally embarrassed by but enjoy, what makes it embarrassing for you, and why wouldn't you share it with others? I haven't finished the show yet, so please don't judge my trashy taste and forgive me for my lewd sins. Sending all the love from high up in the Rockies. P.S. I'm a Mason fanboy and just want to shower him with extra non-perverted love. Wow. Thank you.
There's definitely some perverted shots from this anime online. And no, I didn't use Safe Search. By the way, why do you know the hotkey for Safe Search, Mason?
Because I have to do hentai episodes for this podcast.
Oh, I see.
And, I gotta protect my sanity here.
Okay.
I'm just trying to help our listeners, with the shortcuts. Just like, Control-Alt-Delete, those are for rubes. Those are for absolute idiots. Those are for slug brain, just people who can't compute. What you want to do is
brain.
You want to do Control-Shift-Escape. That immediately pulls up the task manager. You don't have to click on it with Control-Alt-Delete. I'm telling you guys, there's a world out there outside of Control-Delete, and it's your job to find it. Anyway, Mitz, what are some of your guilty pleasure shows, if you have any?
I'm happy to hear that you're so thorough about this, because that means the 2032 Mason for President campaign is still on. So your political career is a go. So
Gotcha. Yeah.
What the hell was the question?
What are your guilty pleasures or shows that you feel embarrassed to like but still end up liking it?
Oh my god. Well, I love Golden Boy, obviously. That's a known. So that's pretty ecchi. When I was younger, I watched most of the Iki Tosen stuff. That's definitely ecchi. I enjoyed.
But were you embarrassed watching it, or you were just like, this is not acceptable? I love it.
To be embarrassed would require that somebody was like seeing me watch it, right? Like, I don't really recall a time when somebody was watching me watch Iki Tosen. So I don't think I was embarrassed watching it. I also enjoyed that. What's that fighting show we did on the podcast like 4 years ago with the like Badger girl?
Ooh, I was about to guess Keijo, but
no.
Badger girl.
Yeah, it's got like all these animal girls in it, and they fight. I like that show.
Definitely not Kimono Friends. Oh, no. The 12 like Chinese zodiac one.
Oh my god!
I keep on wanting to say Jujutsu Kaisen. That's not it though. Oh my goodness. We are bad anime fans.
It'll come to me. Though? The name of it is like a play on words.
Junie Tyson?
No, nope. Killing Bites. Pancake. How did she know that? She's like from downstairs. She's got Killing Bites. Killing Bites. I don't know. I don't know. We don't watch a lot of ecchi shows, but I did enjoy Ishizoku Reviewers. That was legitimately pretty fun. So I'm down for that.
Okay, we'll put that on there.
All right, let's see here. Next question.
I was just gonna say Kill la Kill.
Okay.
That one is kind of a guilty pleasure for me. Yeah. Even though I don't think guilty pleasure should be a thing, it's really hard if someone came in for me to be like, oh, like, look at, there's these deep metaphorical themes and the repression of women in society and how, like, clothing is, like, stagnating our development when half the characters are just naked. Like, I don't know if I could really swing that in my favor. Caroline mentioned...
Yes, what did Caroline say for this?
She says she's a little embarrassed by some of the shows, but she still enjoyed A Sister Is All You Need, because even though it was trashy, she found a lot of great things in it. Tokyo Ghoul, because it was a bad, edgy show that she liked. And Food Wars, because despite the really weird fan service, it was still fun.
Oh, Food Wars is a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty embarrassingly good. So those are all good suggestions. Yeah. And finally, Attack on Titan Junior High, because it's chibi silly spin-off that she enjoyed. So
I definitely saw
sure.
a meme of Food Wars like just today. Somebody posted it somewhere. I was like, some guy's looking at like this bowl of fried rice, and then he like looks at it again, and there's like a naked girl lying in it, like moaning. That's pretty much Food Wars in a nutshell.
Just no, we take that. Anyway, what's the next one?
Nuclear Burger writes, I was at the gym. Yeah, goddamn right you were. And you were getting fucking swole because it's Easter. That's what I was doing this morning.
I could be wrong. I think they just hit like a new squat PR. Like, you really should join the Discord and tell me when you're hitting these PRs so I can acknowledge you when you didn't ask for it on the podcast. So congrats. Anyway.
I can't squat really. I can't squat really heavy anymore because I hurt my back. So
it can be any PR. We got people running in the Discord. We got like a whole race going on. Oh, it's so good. Anyway, sorry, I keep on distracting us.
So anyway, on with the question. As Pancake talks downstairs extremely loudly. So we started to give exercise names.
she was so helpful for killing bites, and now she just wants to keep on being involved. You know, nothing wrong with that. Mitsuki is I'll just read this. Oh, he's back.
I gave her a look. I don't think it's gonna help.
Do you want me to read this?
No, it's okay. The weather's very nice outside. I was at the gym with some friends and bored with lifts. I'm bored between lifts. Yeah, well, so we started to give exercise names to the Reagan treatment. So this is where you take a mundane exercise and put a creative spin on them. For example, the Aroma Runway Express is when Reagan sends his clients on a spa trip. For us, squats became anti-chicken leg prevention protocol. Well, that's fair. It's true. Goblet squats became goblin slayers. Oh, I like it. And hip thrusts became the Hisoka Schwings. With the chance to rename your most boring activities, chores, etc., however, how would you rename them? Holy shit, this is a question I absolutely should have read way in advance.
You want me to go first?
Yeah,
I can
fucking
for
for sure.
Because this is a great question, and
Jesus,
I kind of forgot about it until a little while ago. So here's my workout plan for you guys. So you're going to start off with some Devilmans, which consists of these full body sprints to warm up. These are not running with your legs like you would normally see. You take a cue from Devilman, Crybaby, and use your whole body because that really gets the blood flowing. You get everyone in the gym looking at you because you really want to be the center of attention when you do your next exercise, which I've dubbed the Andy and Frank Kissy Kissy Smooch Smooch. Which, if you've watched Yaomushi Pedal, you know Andy and Frank being the name of your two pectorals. You're going to do some pec flies, you know? Really get those pecs up against one another, and you'll be ripped. And after that, it's important to wind down with some what I'm going to call Rudy Gray Rat isn't a creep, because it's good to get a stretch in at the end of an exercise.
Rudy Gray Rat is a creep though.
He is, which is why saying that would be a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, for sure. I get it. Very clever.
Retry out here.
Boy, this is tough. Like, basically with 5 seconds of preparation, but
you could do some like a Dragon Ball like spirit bombs for like military press. It's a lot of overhead movements.
Well, I actually was thinking Dragon Ball. Today I was doing quads, so I was doing a lot of like lunges.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I've got like lunges. I got like I like to load the barbell up for the lunges and then walk with them on my shoulders. You know. So
nothing is better than walking lunges, which is why I don't do them, because they're really hard.
To make my lungs want to explode, basically.
Yeah, oh my goodness.
It's like fucking ridiculous. So like, you know, I got like 110 pounds on a barbell, and I'm like, my heart feels like I feel like I'm going to literally have a heart attack. I was thinking about that today. I was like, this could be it. It's like, I'm going to die today. Sorry, Mason, you're on your own.
Are the scenes where I want to die more than anything else in the gym.
I would say you could call those like the Goku like milk bottle run or something. I don't know, because isn't there like a section of Dragon Ball where Goku's like carrying tons of milk bottles or something, and they're like walking around Roshi's Island, or maybe even on on King Kai's planet when Goku's like doing his walking lunges and the gravity's like 5x, and he's like,
It's like a different kind of farmer's lunges because he's a farmer now, right? Isn't that his job?
yeah, he farms radishes.
Yeah,
He's like the worst radish farmer that. Oh, Mitz is getting old. The Twitch says, "What is this? How am I old? I feel like I'm getting younger as I age." I mean, come on,
Benjamin Button out here.
Yeah, I mean, my fiance is 11 years younger than I am, so I have no choice. I have to be young.
You
Honestly.
can do like fingertip push-ups. That's like a Deku thing, right? Doesn't he fight with
Yeah.
his like, finger? Yeah, that's something.
Yeah. I think back when I was a little lighter, I could do like thumb push-ups probably, but
Ooh, dang.
yeah. Yeah, so but I don't know, but I can still do one-arm push-ups pretty easily. But I mean, pretty much I think anybody can do that. Jeez, I don't know.
We'll shelve this.
Yeah, we'll shelve it.
Nuclear Burger, I like your suggestions better than what we could come up with.
Yeah, for
what's
sure.
the next one? It's me. Comes to us from Freak Angel. Longtime anime watcher and new to your podcast. Welcome. Loving your content. Welcome, welcome. Was just curious, what anime app do all of you recommend for tracking the anime you have watched and are watching?
Yeah.
Caroline uses my anime list because she's biased, because that's all she's ever used, according to her note. I have switched from my anime list to AnyList. Be my friend, MAKLAX. That's you look it up and you friend me and I'll friend you. And I can see all the stuff you're watching. And I'm like, oh, he watched a show. She watched a show I've never seen. I put it on my list secretly. And then I watch it. And then I tell everyone. And I pretend like I discovered it when no, I stole it from you shamelessly. So that's why you should be my friend on AnyList, which is what I used because Mel was having like a bunch of issues like I don't even know how many years ago, and I just kind of fled the boat. So AnyList is where I'm at. Please be my friend.
For me, it's my anime list. I don't know. It was just the one I used, and I'm not migrating 700 fucking line items to another place. So even though
You
there's
do
probably
it automatically. Yeah, it's just
is there an import function or something?
yeah. You just export it from Mel into like an XML file or something, and then it just drops into AnyList, and like 98% of it will carry over no problem.
But what about the 2%, Mason?
Actually, someone in our Discord wrote a script that you can run on your program to see what
Oh,
didn't
for God's sake! Of course they
Yeah.
did.
MVP.
All right.
Anyway, so use AnyList, but it really doesn't matter. So,
Yeah, I don't really care that much. I mean, I don't think mine's ever really fully up to date. So I try, but like, it's hard. Okay. That was a short mailbag. Thank you, Freak Angel. I appreciate that though. It's the attention to detail that matters. You know what I'm saying? So Captain Three Chords writes, do you have any sounds you associate strongly with anime? For me, it is the synthesized trumpet commonly heard in the early 90s, such as the 1993 Oh My Goddess OVA opening. Trumpet noises, huh? You can still hear it used widely in anime, even in masterfully produced pieces like Goose House's opening to Kimi no Uso, Your Lie in April, despite its lack of use in popular music. Cheers. What do you think, Mason?
I think I actually put 2 YouTube videos of the 2 drops or sounds that I hear that I associate with anime, which really aren't really fair because they're not like sounds you hear within a show. But they are the drops of like either, I don't know, the programming block they're on or the distributor, and the 2 of which you will know immediately. One is the Noit Tamina opening, the little sound of when the like girl is like flying across on the chair for the late night programming block. It's just like a bunch of little like clicks and clacks and melodic little wands as she like flies around, and it's not like easy to describe, but you know what it is when you hear it. The other one is the much more iconic Aniplex logo, which is the Aniplex. That, like, as it like goes across the screen, and that I think that's just like seared into like my very being. Like I don't think I could ever, like I'll probably wake up to nightmares in like 20 years from now when anime has like eroded off the face of the earth and it's outlawed. So I think those 2 things I'll take to my grave.
This is pretty random, but there's like there's certain animal sound effects that get used in everything. So I used to play a lot of Ultima Online when I was a kid. and by that I mean a lot of Ultima Online. So only people, well, younger people or anybody under the age of like 25 has no fucking clue what that is. So Ultima Online was an MMO. It was like one of the first MMOs that ever came out. Might have been the first one. And it was really big for probably 6-7 years. But there's a lot of animals, like just wildlife in the forest and stuff in that game. And there's like cat sounds, cow sounds. And you hear this same, and trust me, after playing Ultima Online for 12 years or whatever, you know every single sound effect in that fucking game. And you'll hear those same animal noises used even today and stuff. Like the simple sound of a cat meowing. I will never mistake one meow from another. I never forget a pussy cat meowing from Ultima Online. And,
I thought you were gonna hit us with like the cicada sounds or something like that.
Well, the cicada
like every,
sounds,
like,
yeah.
summer anime where they like show like the street lights and like wiring, and they play the cicadas like chirping away in the summer night.
I mean, there's that. There's the sound of Goku like powering up. I'm never gonna mistake the sound of like the like in the how they do.
I know how they do.
Yeah,
those are pretty good.
They just hours and hours of that noise in Dragon Ball of just characters just standing around talking.
Someone should make like a 2-hour like ASMR like power up sequence with like cut out all the screaming, and it's just like the ethereal vibe of just molecules being absorbed into his energy.
I don't know. There's a lot. I mean, there's sounds that are from anime that I've seen so many times that I will never forget the noises from these shows, even though they're not using anything else ever. Like I've seen My Neighbor Totoro so many times that not only do I have every word of that movie memorized, but I can pull the sound effects from that movie out of a huge pile of sound effects and stuff like that. You never forget things. It's supposedly your auditory memory is longer than most of your senses. You have to look that up, but like certain senses,
that means
like
people are never going to forget us. With how often they have
God
to hear
help
us.
them.
Actually, since you brought it up, probably the sound effect from a Ghibli film that like sticks with me is the radish spirit from Spirited Away. The really like chubby dude who like squeaks in the elevator that Chihiro has to like ride up in, and he's like, we I don't know how it is, but it's really adorable.
I remember that. For me, it's the heads that roll around. They go, oi, 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 oi,
oh, the three of them that like stack on top of one another.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Or like the Kodama from Princess Mononoke.
Oh, the Kodama.
Like,
oh yeah.
As they like
definitely
snap their necks.
There's no doubt about that. Yeah. That's a
Caroline's
really good one.
answer is the gasp when characters drink alcohol. They take a big swig as Mitch is about to recreate.
Sorry, I don't have big tits like Misato, so I can't like make that worth seeing. But I did my best.
We appreciate the effort. We like it. You dug deep for that one.
I did.
Next mailbag comes from Chivas Freak. Did we just do a freak one? Oh, Freak Angel, but this is Chivas.
So many freaks out there.
So many freaks in our chat. We love to see it.
Freaky.
Thank you, all the freaks in Twitch. Anyway, hey guys, just wanted to send some love from Nebraska. So if you could send some love back, that'd be great. We don't have much here. Sad face. Caroline says, love you, Nebraska. Back to the mailbag. What OVA would you like to see more of? I watched Golden Boy and enjoyed it immensely. Stay great,
man.
Guys and gal. Mitz.
Oh, yes! My queen!
I actually think Golden Boy got a fair amount of content for an OVA. It's almost 3 hours worth. I mean, there's a lot of OVAs out there that are really good that only got like 20 minutes. For me, it's easy. It's Riding Bean. There's not enough of that. It's like that thing's like 40 minutes, not a whole lot else of it. It's pretty sad. I don't think that's ever coming back, but honestly, Bean is so fucking awesome that I could endlessly watch that guy do anything. He could just drink a bottle of water and I'd watch that. So that's a pretty easy one.
Yeah, so technically Legend of the Galactic Heroes is an OVA. It's just 110 episodes long. That's not my answer.
Come on, you had enough, Mason.
So this one also had 12 episodes long. They were a little bit like shorter episodes, mind you, but I could definitely use some more DMC, some of that Detroit Metal City.
Oh my god.
We got enough of it, but like that could still work. Like that formula, that style of humor still hits today. If you've never seen it, it's just the nicest boy alive who just wants to play sweet romantic indie pop. Somehow finds himself as the lead singer and like warlord of this massive death metal band. It's complete with like corpse makeup, just the most gruesome, violent, edgy lyrics ever, screaming his brains out every night. And he can't escape it because he's good at it. And it's his like struggle to be the nicest person ever, while pretending to be this demonic trouser 3 or whatever it is. It's so much fun. It's a great watch. And Caroline says, if you had asked her a few years ago, she would have said Horimiya before it became an actual anime, TV anime. So there you go.
All right, so Jinther writes, who I think is in the Twitch.
He is.
Good day, AAA hosts. Hope you're all Daijobu.
Yeah, we're Daijobu. I'm Daijobu.
I think Genki would be the more appropriate.
True, but we're also
Kibungai. Anyway, whatever. As I understand, at the time of writing, 15 of the top 50 shows of all time on my anime list have aired after the start of 2020. Yeah, do you think the quality of anime has improved so much since the start of the decade, or is it more down to recency bias? What older shows deserve to be pushed up into that top 50 that you think a younger audience may not have seen yet? It's definitely recency bias. I mean, the reality is...
I don't even know, because recency bias means, the stuff that is newer is better, which I don't think is the case, but I also think it's not so much people are watching all this stuff and they're like, newer is better. I like HD, I like this, I like that. I think people just are new to anime and don't watch old stuff.
Yeah,
it's not so much
that's what
they have a bias for recency, they've only watched new stuff.
Yeah.
So with the ease that it is to, every time Mitz and I talk about, there's a super cool retro show, and you have to roll the dice on if it's on Retro Crusher or on anything at all. Like, it's just harder to find old stuff. It's not as talked about. Like, people should watch stuff from the 80s. Like, watch Akira from the 90s. Watch Berserk from the aughts. Watch Code Geass. Who cares? Like, it's all classics that are weird and different, but I don't know. People just don't watch old stuff, and it's sad, but I don't blame them.
Well, and plus people have to go back and, like, actually take the time to think about the things they've seen and go back. And even if you're like an old fogey like I am, you'd have to think like, what have I seen? Like, what are all the shows I've seen from the last 25, 35 years or whatever? And then remember them enough to make a credible opinion, and then go on to something like my anime list and spend the time to do that. People aren't going to do that.
Or you are going to regret doing it every day, and you realize every day you wait to log your list is a day that it's going to slip from your mind. So the best day to do it is today, right now, while you're listening, and be my friend.
The other thing that I think matters a lot is that I think people... I'm saying this without any basis behind it, so bear with me, but I think that younger audiences that watch anime today and haven't been watching anime for like decades... they are very focused on how good something looks. And so, like, a show like Demon Slayer, it doesn't matter how good the narrative or the, like the plot line, it doesn't matter how good the plot line is, how good the, whatever. Demon Slayer looks incredible. So people are going to fucking flock to that no matter how good the content actually is. Whereas if you go back and watch something that's super old that looks really not good, it's never going to get a good review because it looks like shit. And it's just like how people can't go back and they can't play video games from like, on like the PlayStation 1. If you tried to go back and play like Wild Arms or something on the PS1, it's going to look so horrendous that some people aren't going to be able to even aren't even going to be able to play that anymore. And, I know people that can't play like Legend of Dragoon, even though I thought that game was like, an all-time great back when I first played it, but now you go back and it's so rough looking that you just don't even want to give it a shot. So I don't know how you feel about that, Mason, but that could be a factor as well.
Yeah, I'm just looking up the fact that they nerfed that Sonic the Hedgehog film plot review on Wikipedia. Sad. It's gone away. They trimmed it down.
The plot is gone?
Well, it's still there. They just made it readable.
Oh my
So you'll
god,
have
that
to
just
go-
happened in real time.
Yeah, you'll have to go back in time. You can find it.
Wow.
Um,
Holy shit.
let me.
It must have been it must have
I'm
been
going
an
through
effort
the
just to
audit logs.
So for those of you that haven't listened to the Hobby Addicts yet, we were talking about the Sonic the Hedgehog movie for quite a while, and there was an 8,000 word plot synopsis on Wikipedia for the movie, and it was just like this brick, no spacing, no nothing, and they went in there and fixed it like right as we were talking about it. It's probably, what would you say,
Okay, so
500
here we
words
go.
now?
Let me see if I can find. Okay, let me drop this on you guys here because it's going to be lost in the sands of time forever. If you go to the Sonic the Hedgehog live action film for Sonic the Hedgehog 2,
Yeah.
the Wikipedia page, you click at the top for View History. It's to the left of the search box, and there you can see all the edits that have been made. You have to go to
Wow.
the 841 entry on April 17th, 2022. That's when we're recording this. You click on that one to see the full thing. If you go to the one or anyone past it, 3 minutes later, it says, plot was a long, winding paragraph that over-explained the story, reverted it. So
No
there's
shit.
a 3-minute window where an 8,000-word, 11-page summary of the Sonic 2 movie was on Wikipedia. And we witnessed it in real time, and it was beautiful. It took out 43,000 bytes of data. That's how long it was. Sorry, we're off on a tangent.
Yeah, but that's fucking funny because we were just discussing that.
Yeah.
If that really was like somebody who had no idea how to write like an actual synopsis. They just were just like, fuck this. I'm just going to write every detail that happens. Sonic blinked.
Yeah.
Sonic
Then
blinked and turned to the right and said, "Hi, Tails." It's like literally written.
Oh my goodness.
Good
that was
lord.
Wild. Anyway, sorry. Watch old anime, people. It's pretty darn good.
Yeah. Okay. Last mailbag. Raggedy Doctor.
Last
again.
Mailbag. Yeah, he's written so many. We got to give him one last moment to shine.
There were no Yotaru Vegeta's in here. That's pretty amazing. Anyway. What's up, AAA? I know that interviews are not a part of the show. They used to be. But if you had the opportunity to interview one person on the show, who would you pick? Well, what do you think, Mason?
My selection was Mamoru Oshii, a classic famed director, but he's worked in every medium of the industry across many years. He's done OVAs. He did the first one. He's done massive films like Ghost in the Shell. He's done TV shows. He's done manga. He's done like collaborative stuff with Satoshi Kon and other like famed directors. Like he has done so much things, but he's not like so set in his ways. Like let's say Miyazaki, for example, who's kind of staunchly in the way that he does things, and that's how he does them. Like Oshii seems to always be adapting and evolving with the industry itself. And over the decades he's been involved with it, it would be really cool to pick his brain and see how has anime changed over, the years. And I feel like no one could answer that better than him. So I think that'd be a really cool interview to have. Caroline says she'd interview Kevin Penkin, obviously made in
Who the hell is
Abyss
that?
and Tower of God composer. He's done some really cool soundtracks and stuff, and it's really nice. She says, I'd love to know more about his musical and artistic process and if he enjoys anime outside of his work.
I would interview Miyazaki, and I'd have him stay on to review an anime because I just want to hear him talk about how anime is a mistake and how everything's horrible.
So,
And
let's see.
how people have like never had a real conversation, so they have no idea how people talk and all this. Oh
Let's
my
say we
God.
could get him into the studio, like
Miyazaki?
hypothetically, like next week. So like we have finished, after this episode, we will have finished all of the 2021 reviews. What show from next season, if you knew he had to watch it and
Oh my
review
God.
it, would you have him do? You would have My Dress Up Darling, Sabikui Bisco, The Genius Prince's Guide to Raising a Nation Out of Debt, Salaryman's Club, Akebi's Sailor Uniform, Arifureta Season 2, The Dale, and Real as Tarot Season 2. Which of those shows would you be like, Papa Miyazaki, you have to watch 12 episodes of this and give us your feedback?
It's got to be Dress Up Darling. I mean, I gotta
think
have.
Akebi's would also be very funny because I think he'd be like, damn, that looks kind of good, but man, do I hate everything else about this.
I just want him to be like, what is wrong with this girl? She's got so many ear piercings. She's always dressing up in costumes. What's wrong with her? Why is her hair blonde? Get the fuck out of here.
Maybe.
You know, I'm old, but I have
that'd be funny.
I have fuck you money, so I'm just gonna do whatever I want. You can't say shit because I'm basically the god of anime. So fuck all of you.
Well,
Oh,
that's my dress up darling is our next review. So if you're hearing this, Miyazaki,
Oh, wow.
you've got probably a couple days to fly out here. Actually, you could probably do it remote. See, it's easy. Just come on the podcast. And
We have
we'll talk about-
we have a very poor chance of Miyazaki coming on this pod. You know what? I'll say one out of. I'm gonna say
I'd say-
one out of probably 1 in a million.
I'd say 1 in 10,000. It
All
would take a. He probably wouldn't even. Yeah, no. We're yeah, that'd be pretty good.
We're big fans, Miyazaki. Come on, I mean, we'll be
Big
nice
fans
to
of
you.
the show.
I could pay you at least $20. I could
Wait,
DoorDash
no,
you
you're
some
spend-
Dairy Queen.
You're spending half of that money to keep Jim Carrey on the Sonic movie. You
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I'm just gonna throw all the money I have in my bank account at Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey, please, just do one more Sonic movie. You are incredible as Dr. Robotnik. Just please stay. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for mailbags.
Yeah, those were good. As a reminder, now that we have a little more room in our mailbag, you can head over to AAApodcast.com. Let me do it actually right now so I can give you directions that is, you can't yell at me and be like, I don't know how things work. You go to our website, AAApodcast.com. At the top, there's a banner. It has a bunch of words on it, but I believe it. You can read, you watch anime. Right in the center, there's a thing that says Mailbag and More. You click on that, you get a form where you can submit your confessionals, your Shark Tanks, or mailbags that have us answer your questions or whatever your thoughts are. And we really appreciate it, and we love you. And now we will go to a quick break, but we will leave you with a trivia question to keep your noggin going in the meantime. In the anime 86, what is the nickname of the large ground effect plane that is used to transport personnel quickly? We'll see you in just a bit. Stay tuned.
Hey, anime addicts. Mitsuki here, bringing you your anime news break. Starting off with something we haven't done in quite a while, the top 10 rankings of Japanese TV ratings for Japanese anime in Japan from the week of April 4th through the 10th. A lot of your usual suspects, Sazae-san, Detective Conan, Chibi Maruko-chan, Precure, Doraemon, all coming in to the top 5. Pretty routine stuff, but we do have a couple new ones here on the list worth looking at. Spy X Family comes in at number 6 on the list. One Piece, another usual suspect, coming in at 7. Love All Play, a fairly new property, coming in after that, followed by Jujutsu Kaisen, Crayon Shinchan, and Oshiri Tante, or Butt Detective, my personal favorite. So if you are a fan of Spy X Family, Love All Play, or Jujutsu Kaisen, very popular in Japan right now. And now, next, it's time for more anime adaptation announcements. This one apparently very popular, a lot of talk going on online. Isekai wa smartphone totomu ni. In another world with my smartphone. A isekai property, of course, it's in the title. The first anime season aired in 12 episodes back in the summer of 2017, produced by Production Reed. Crunchyroll and Funimation both streamed this first season. The synopsis: in a thoughtful blender, God accidentally strikes down Mochizuki with a stray bolt of lightning, and as an apology, God offers him one wish and a chance to live again in a magical fantasy world. Toya accepts the offer, and for his one wish is to keep his smartphone as he begins this journey in a magical world. So I missed this one. It looks cute if you're interested in this property. The anime's second season will be coming out fairly soon. Next up, more anime adaptation announcements. The manga Ao no Orchestra. I couldn't resist. Another anime with the word blue in the title. There's about 17 of these now. Blue Orchestra, the manga, will be getting an anime adaptation. Hajime Aono was a prodigy violinist until he grew jaded with playing the violin due to personal reasons, and now in his third year of middle school, he struggles to decide on his academic path. But one day, a hot-headed violinist wants to enroll in a high school with a distinguished orchestra club, and he finds himself getting closer to the girl being brought back into the world of violinists. Romance, slice of life with a music twist. If you're a fan, Blue Orchestra coming out fairly soon. And lastly, an anime with some pretty interesting promo art. The light novel Nozomanu Fushi no Boukensha, subtitled as The Unwanted Undead Adventurer, is going to be getting made into an anime as well. 25-year-old adventurer Rent has been hacking away at monsters for decades without much talent for the job. He finds himself stuck hunting slimes and goblins. Little does he know, this is all about to change when he comes across a seemingly undiscovered path in the Water Moon Dungeon. So you'll have to check this out. Again, it sounds like an isekai, but it may not be, just maybe a fantasy anime. This property has 1.4 million copies of its light novel sold, and the manga as well in print. If you're a fan of this, look out for The Unwanted Undead Adventurer, a interesting-looking fantasy anime coming out here before too long. And then this was Mitsugi. This was your anime news break, and now it's time to get back to the podcast right now. So you're at the grocery store. Options at the sushi counter were a little thin. Spicy tuna rolls will have to do. But you know what else is a little thin? Your patience. You were listening to your favorite podcasts, but now all you're listening to is this little robot lady yap at you.
Place your item in the bagging area.
If only you had the AAA podcast's extra content, you wouldn't have even heard her talking to you over the sound of our hobby addicts, our hentai episodes, and our after parties. But now you're about to get arrested for assaulting Wally over here. Goddamn robot bitch. Little Billy's sitting at home about to go hungry while Mommy and Daddy are becoming somebody's new favorite down at the Slammer. Don't let little Billy go hungry. Head over to aapodcast.com/join our Patreon today and support the podcast. Again, that's aapodcast.com/join or Patreon.
Place your item in the bagging area.
Yeah, I'll put you in a bag.
And now, great moments in Anime Addicts Anonymous history.
Do I look like the CEO of Anime Hell? Okay, I am just a distributor. I merely provide Anime Hell with Moe girls in the Church of Mitsugi. I can't be expected to do everything, okay?
Oh, wow.
Times are tough. Hiring is difficult. We don't have a proper HR department. We don't have enough money to pay a reasonable salary. Everybody wants to work remote these days. What am I supposed to do, okay? You're just going to sit at home and play video games if you work remote. I can't have that happening. But then if I ask you to come into the office, you don't want to work. You don't want to apply for the job.
There's so many stairs to the pit of hell. Like, you have to go all the way down. You don't even have an elevator.
We have cube space, okay? It's there. But, that being said, I don't have enough manpower to actually determine where the Moe girls go in the pit of hell. I only have enough manpower to provide Dear Anime Satan with the labor that he requires. So whatever he does with it, that's his business.
So you just kick them in. You don't really care what happens to them after
That's
that.
correct. That's not, see, there's a contractual agreement here. The red lines for the contract were very highly contested. He wanted me to determine where they go. I said, look, I don't have the manpower for that. I'm going to give you the anime girls, but you have to figure it out on your own. Listen, it's hell has a lot more resources than just one little church, okay? For God's sake, what do I look like? Welcome back to the podcast. In the anime 86, what is the nickname of the large ground effect plane that is used to transport personnel quickly? I believe this is a German word. Nachzurher. Is that about right,
That's
Mason?
right. That is right.
I got it. And if anybody wants to donate any money to the Church of Mitsugi, we might be able to afford, a few more. Really, we need more of an expansive HR department because we need a lot of help. So, you can send your applications to aaapodcast.com/application, where we will take applications to be in the Church of Mitsugi. So, thank you for that. Okay. Well, Mason,
I just picture you doing like a bake sale outside of like grocery stores every Saturday to try to raise funds.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like little pictures. They're like little cookies with Anime Satan's face on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. They might taste good, but nobody wants a cookie with Anime Satan on it. You know, you
Not
can't
in these
exactly
times.
you can't exactly bring that home and give it to your kids. It's like, you know, give me a break. All right. You ready for your favorite drop?
Oh, you know it.
Get your popcorn ready. It's time for Unexplored Pictures with Mason.
Still slaps. After all these years, still slaps. Welcome to the segment of the show where I talk about a movie that I think deserves more love or attention, or just I haven't heard about, and probably you haven't either. Maybe not. Maybe you're better than me. That's how it could be. This one comes to me from General Mills from the Discord. He watched this and said, "Hey, have you heard of this? If not, I think you should check it out." And that I did. This is called Like the Clouds, Like the Wind. It's a 1990 Studio Pierrot show or movie, 79 minutes long. And, you know, this probably looks a lot like a Ghibli film. In fact, it's often incorrectly thought to be produced by Studio Ghibli because it has character designs by Katsuya Kondo, who's worked on pretty much every major Ghibli film ever. And there was an actual error in the fan translation when this movie first announced that attributed the screenplay to Hayao Miyazaki instead of Akira Miyazaki. So everyone was like, this is a Ghibli film. It's not, but damn does it feel like it. This is kind of like Sora's a main character who kind of just feels like an amalgamation of a ton of the main Ghibli girls we know. Think of like a more chipper version of Chihiro, mixed with Satsuki, mixed with Kiki, all kind of rolled into one very Genki girl. But the story of Like the Clouds, Like the Wind takes place in this massive kingdom where the emperor has died, and the palace is in turmoil because this dude had 550 wives, some of which had sons, some of which they want to ascend to the throne. And the main prince who is to take the throne, there's like a nationwide search to find his next bride-to-be. So they send all these people out into the countryside to find potential mates for him. And one of the girls that one of the guys finds is a country bumpkin girl named Ginga, who's enticed by the very luxurious option of getting to eat and sleep all day long.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, that sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah.
Let me sign up. Not really sure what being a concubine or wife of a emperor entails, but you know what? That seems like a pretty good life to me. So she says, sure, sign me up. And she kind of undergoes coaching by the eunuch that found her to learn the ladylike manners of the palace. Of course, her excessive genkiness doesn't really jive with like the docile temperament that they expect of a nice, well-bred lady of the times. And she just can't be contained. And she's got charisma, she's got charm, and she's got spunk, and none of that is like fitting nicely into the puzzle piece. But she clashes with all the other bride candidates there and all the other classrooms of ladies as they vie to learn the regal ways of the palace. And really it's a story of her not really fitting in with what is expected and kind of living out these couple months as, a potential bride candidate. The plot takes some big jumps along the way, and it ends just as quickly as it starts, but if you're just along for the ride, it's a pretty fun watch. And despite how it sounds with, dudes with 550 wives, like, hand-selecting all the maidens across the land to try to, like, form them into being a certain way, and, this movie being 30 years old and from Japan, not the most progressive society, This movie is, like, teeming with some very, like, modern, like, philosophical and feminist ideology that is kind of refreshing. Like, it's very heavy on Chinese history and philosophy, as the book it's based on is written by Kenichi Sakemi, whose degree is in Chinese philosophy. So, for like an anime of its time, it's kind of refreshing in a lot of ways. And it's just a fun little romp through, palace life. You have a lot of, like I said, ties to Ghibli between obviously the visual design and one like straight analogy is like with Spirited Away, there's like a long tunnel that like transforms the outside world from the inside palace world into like a whole nother like atmosphere. It's just a cool little vibe. There's a lot of like slapstick comedy in it, and while it's not like on an insane Ghibli level, the visuals are unique. They're comfy. Like you can see the brushstrokes in the clouds, and there's some real neat directing cuts at the end. So at the end of the day, do I recommend this movie? Moderately, like only for diehard fans who are looking to push into, like we talked about earlier, kind of doing your history homework. See what anime movies were like in the 90s and see how that played off. So it's appropriate for the whole family. I mean, obviously it's just subs, so maybe some small kids might not like it, but there is some bloodless violence at the end. But it's a neat little film. It's on Crunchyroll, it's on Retro Crush, and it is on Midnight Pulp. So
Ooh.
for less than 90 minutes, it's a charming little romp. It's once again called Like the Clouds, Like the Wind.
Yep.
And there's probably at least some moment in you that will make you smile and be like, that's pretty neat. So it's a fun little watch if you need something new.
I started this movie a few times on Retro Crush because I've seen it, and every time I see it, I think it's Ghibli.
Yeah.
Of course, I know it's not Ghibli because I've seen all the Ghibli movies, but I go, wow, this looks like Ghibli. Maybe it's good. And I have no idea because every time I put it on, I fall asleep.
Nice.
Not because the movie's not good, but because I'm old and I'm laying in bed. So, you know.
It doesn't strike me as your kind of film, but yeah. It's not like I would say, oh man, like you have to push through and give it a shot. It's not like on that level. But if you're like, I just want something different and new, got to pad your Annie list stats, you know?
That's right.
That's what the name of the game is. Your numbers go up. That's the only reason we're in this game. No, I'm kidding. So
or your My Anime List stats.
Exactly.
You know,
so
if you're a plebe.
Exactly. You've got it now. The subtle insults. I love it so much. So if you give
go.
it a shot, let me know what you think. And let me know if there's other movies I should check out. But that was that. And now we're not doing a mailbag because we already did it. Yeah, you silly. So let's do a review. How's that sound?
Yeah. It's the last review from fall.
Yes, last review of 2021 as a whole.
Oh my
After
God.
this, it's all engines go
That's
to
it.
the now. We're in the future,
done.
boys. I love to hear it. This is a review of 86, second core, second season, whatever you want to call it, the one that came out in fall of 2021. You can watch this on Crunchyroll, and this was passed not by you, not by me, not by Caroline, but by you, the listeners, who also passed this show back when it was season 1. You passed this in the listener choice, and we reviewed it on episode 582, so it's been a little while. Done by A1 Pictures, directed by Toshimasa Ishii, and this kind of just picks up a little bit after the first 11 episodes of season 1. So obviously you need to know that story to jump in here. It tells the story, it continues to tell the story of the faction of soldiers known as the 86, shunned by their motherland of San Magnolia. These troops are kind of a persecuted race who've been forced to fight for the very folks who reject them. This faction, known as the Spearhead Squadron, are led by Shanae, who has more than just a little inkling of a sense of what the enemy is up to and kind of how these mechanical troops might have a little more to them than you might expect. And with this insight, he has fights relentlessly against these evil, the spidery CG mechs called the Legion. So that kind of is what the groundwork is, but then it, builds and grows into something a little more global and plot twist. You've probably seen season 1, but if you haven't, we'll get to it. So, based on a light novel, I think that's all the accounting stuff. Expectations. Mitsugi, what did you think going into season 2?
Well, what's funny is that I just went back and looked, and season 1 of this was also listener choice.
Yep.
So we have unwillingly watched both seasons of 86, which is pretty funny. I don't know. I've seen the first season. I kind of... This is one of those anime where I didn't really know why it had a second season. I wasn't really sure if it needed one. But, I think I expected more of the same, which is military-themed, robot-based action scenes and, melodramatic moments of, comrades dying, pretty much. So, I had a pretty good idea what I was walking into.
Yeah. Obviously, whenever we do a season 2, we're like, what'd you expect? More of season 1. That's obviously how this goes.
Nailed it.
Season 1 kind of ended, no spoilers, on not a cliffhanger, but it could really go in a lot of different directions. And I wasn't really sure, and I was kind of curious to see where it would take it. Really, I hadn't looked up too much about the plot or what people were thinking about, but I did hear that there were multiple delays in the broadcast. I think 2 or 3 episodes had to go with recaps, and there was a couple month delays throughout this process. So that's never a promising sign, looking at you, Wonder Egg Priority. It made me feel a little, and I'm like, how this will do. But I remember, at the end of our season 1 review, I said, this is a pretty competent anime, and I'll be tuning in for season 2 when it returns. So now we're here. It's returned. Would you recommend 86 season 2, Mitz?
I probably would, to the right person. I think that this anime has a much better animation than most. They do a pretty solid job with the CG. The story is fairly cohesive, even though doesn't do a whole lot. I like the characters are okay, you know. And if you like military strategy, there's a little bit of it in here. Not like a lot. It's nothing deep. The writing isn't like super smart. Like we're not planning like, you know, minute military tactical maneuvers here. It's more like, you know, let's invade. Let's draw the enemy to the front line so we can like fly someone in and parachute them behind the enemy line when there's no one in the middle. It's like,
pretty much.
Okay, well, good idea, but you know, anybody could come up with that. So, but I think I'd recommend it if you want to see action, if you want to see military, if you want sci-fi. You know, it's not a bad option for you. You know, really, I think that there's, but I mean, I don't know. You got to watch season 1 for sure. I think so. Well, maybe you can get by without season 1, but I think it'll be better for you if you watch it.
That's fair too. I don't think I would recommend season 2. So let me put it this way. I think this is a very solid adaptation with very solid directing. I feel like if you like the light novel, you are like beyond pleased with the product you got here. Like it does a lot of things visually that not only light novels can't do, but it does have that care and attention in the visuals that set it above other anime. That said, it never lives up to the potential on what I think it could say. I think there's a lot of standout bright spots, but there's just a lot of questionable choices along the way that make it kind of a frustrating experience. So I would honestly say that season 2 I found to be a little bit worse than season 1, just because it didn't do anything new in my opinion. So while I wouldn't recommend it, I would say it's like worth checking out season 1 to see if it clicks with you, because I still think there is something to like about this show. I just found season 2 to be an overall just like upsetting experience, not because it's like gratuitously bad. It just didn't click with what I wanted. I never bounced off it, so maybe it just wasn't the story for me. But I would say check out season 1. If it's not doing it for you, there's nothing about season 2 that'll save it in your mind. So I know a lot of people love this show. I will probably ruffle some feathers. I'm sorry, but 86. Let's get into the spoilers.
Spoilers are coming. Oh my god!
I didn't actually think this was all that bad. You know, I just don't think it didn't contribute anything that season 1 hadn't already accomplished, is kind of how I feel. I don't particularly think that, you know, there wasn't a whole lot more plotline delivered in the second season. You know,
Sorry, go ahead.
I am prone to distraction when I watch anime sometimes, but it's just a continuation of the first season, and it's just more of let's fight back the Legion, and that's about it. And that's kind of where they left you at the end of the season. Like, this is probably going to get season 3. You know, it seems like it could. And
I would imagine. Absolutely.
I don't know. It just didn't. I feel like it's consistent with the first season, in my opinion, but it doesn't really. It continues to do what it did well in season 2 as well. Like, the action is good. There's not as much of it, which is kind of disappointing. But you know, the action is good when they have it. But the drawback to the season is that there's just not a lot of progress, I don't think, and a lot of the emotional sort of struggle with I can't even remember the one girl's name because she wasn't even really in this season hardly. The white-haired chick. Lena, yeah, the white-haired commander. From, like, you know, in the first season, it was a lot of, Lena's really struggling with the fact that these people are dying that she's like gradually becoming attached to, and you get to see them in their like habitat, and people and my viewers like getting attached to because they're having these moments of like fun and how they're real people. But in the second season, like, Lane is hardly there, and so they strip a lot of that gets stripped out, and it becomes like, you know, this struggle with this little girl Frederica who's, you know, doesn't want to see he doesn't want to see Shine die because like she had to see Kitty die, who I guess was he in the first season? I think he was.
No, so I guess to lead it off. There's kind of two things I dislike and a lot of things I do like. The things I dislike was, number one, you kind of brought it up. Lena just seemed to be replaced by Frederica. They took their waifu and said,
Yeah.
it's not her story, let's put her on the sideline, which I respect that they, for the most part, were like, she's a main character and we're going to not have her there. It's bold and I like it. But they're like, well, we got to put some sort of waifu bait in there. Let's put this little lolly who has like this magic ability to kind of ruin the grittiness of the vibe. And there was definitely like an inverse. Like the more time that Frederica was on screen, the worse that episode quality was. Like her presence always never rubbed me the right way. And she was just like, I don't know, like I get that it's a whole like, oh, she's a little moe girl, but she has this like deep philosophical understanding of the world. But her whole like protection of the night was very similar to like Shin's story. And I get that they tried to be like, she is like Shin's regret of like reaching out to the brother. Like there was a lot of parallels, but they didn't really click with me. I just didn't vibe her. And I thought she was just a worse inclusion. Like I didn't think she needed to be there, like ranting in her, I don't know. She just didn't vibe with me, and I thought it was a decision made for the worse.
You know, I think 86 does a lot of things well, and I understand why people enjoy the show. There's a lot of emotional impact when characters are dying. You know, it's a war show, and you can't get away from that. It's going to be in every war show pretty much that is worth anything. And so there's a lot of people dying in here, and more than that, the threat of dying is impactful. The other things that the show does well are, like I said, the action is very sharp when they're doing it. I don't feel like there was as much action in this season, because in the first season there was a lot of skirmishes going on, like a skirmish here, a skirmish there. Then at the end it was like, we're gonna have this big fucking blowout fight, and then the 86 kind of go on their way. In this one, I just feel like there weren't as many skirmishes, and so it didn't help the pacing very much.
I mean, I didn't mind that. You know me, I'm
action
never
show,
into
though.
this show. I don't care about action in the action show. I do think the CG looked better in the show. Besides the scene where they were being dropped from the sky and that like weird like parachute thing, that looked pretty bad. Besides that, it looked pretty good. It sounded good. I think the problem with the show is just it tried to tell the part of war where it's like, here we have these soldiers, they're trying to return to society, but they can't find purpose outside of combat and living with the guilt of survival. Very powerful stuff.
Yeah, you nailed it.
But that was just so much the entire narrative that it was just that tone and message for 12 episodes. And I'm not saying it's not a strong enough message to hammer on. It just was the only thing they had any nuance on. And it was just the same over and over and over. And like the story kind of grew predictable. Like in the late game when they're like, we have to kill this massive railgun thing. Of course that's going to take the whole rest of the season. And you just, like episode 9, where they all go off together, and then one by one they slowly get like picked off. Like as soon as the first person had to be like, oh, you guys keep on going, I'm going to stay back and fight these guys. Like you knew the other 3 were going to do the same thing so Shin could be all alone. Like it was just, you saw the blueprint formula. And it's that part of the writing and narrative that I just found to be the weakest point. Though I will say, fun fact, and I don't know if this is a fact, but did you notice that the hair color of the 5 people that were left made up the flag colors of San Magnolia?
Oh hell no, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so like Shin with the black hair, Raiden with the blue hair, the white hair, yellow hair, red, like they all like match the flag. And I'm
How many
like,
colors
of course,
does
these
this
are the
flag
people.
need to have on it?
5. It has 5, and those are the 5 people that survived. I'm like, of course it did. That's so, like, I kind of think that's clever, but it's also like, I don't like it. But it is, I don't know. It is what it is. But yeah, like I thought visually, this
quite good.
Was really good.
Yeah,
both the like combat, but also like just these evocative, powerful shots. Like episode 2, we have all these shots of the backs of these characters as they try civilian life. Episode 6, we get the shot of like the capital cities of each nation shown in like the eye of the leader, or we have like Shin's past cavalry like speaking to him from beyond. Lena like walking out of her letterboxing to like mimic Shin's actions at the end. Just a lot of transition cuts from like putting down a cup or opening a door. Just were like, ooh, this is really well directed and better than the standard anime we get. That was good. There was a couple moments, like I said earlier, that were kind of dropped the ball, but visually, this really did go above and beyond in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and I think that's, and I stand by my prior comment that was like, people look at how things visually, how visually appealing things are before anything else, and I get it. Like, we're at a place in the anime now where, just like with video games, like the only thing anybody ever said bad about Elden Ring was that it didn't have blistering graphics. That was the complaint. That was the number one complaint. Well, I get it. We're in a place where, and by the way, I don't really give a fuck because I'm using old tech and I don't really care. But like, I'm also old. But we're in a place where that exists. Like, you can have blistering graphics if you want to have them. You can have blistering visuals in your anime, for sure. Somebody probably just walked out of Demon Slayer, and they're like, damn, how can I find another show that looks that good? And they can't find one. But, 86 is a reasonable facsimile. It's not as good, but, it still looks great.
It's more from, like, a directing standpoint
that
I think it stands out.
And so you watch this, and you think to yourself, how does 86 end up as the 43rd highest ranked anime ever? And I'm like, well, I don't know. Well, the easy answer is that people like action, and they like visuals. And that's what this show delivers. The military themes are kind of dry, but at the same time, there's a lot of fighting, and there's a lot of like nice looking character designs. There's a lot of the mech designs are pretty good. They really are. And the last 3 episodes or whatever had a lot of fighting in it, and it looked pretty good for the most part. And I think that's what people really wanted out of the show, and I think that they got that, and that's what they expected from the first season. And so, I think people that liked the first season are probably going to be so satisfied by the second season. And like I said, they didn't really destroy the Legion, so I think they're probably going to get more. Although like, militarily...
the light novel is still
going.
Like, it still has unadapted stuff.
Well, we won't be covering season 3, of course, because we don't do that. But, the thing I was puzzled by was, like, plot-wise, at the end they say, oh, well, the Legion's army has been decimated or reduced or whatever, but the factories are still there. And so they're going to be back stronger than ever. And I'm just thinking, great, the army's decimated. Go fucking destroy the factories before they can rebuild the army. Are they just going to sit around and like pick their asses until the army gets fully rebuilt? No, get your ass out there and bomb that shit. I don't know. I just couldn't wrap my head around that.
We need to have a 2-episode tearful reunion between Handler 1 and the people, and they're going to meet, but then they're not going to meet because we just can't have that yet. We got to save it for the big finale. Like, it was just a lot of moments like that just irked me. And I'm not saying it's impractical or, like, unbelievable that this happened, but I don't know. I just found for every moment that I was like, oh, that looked cool. That's a neat trick.
Yeah.
Just the narrative, the dialogue was all just, it felt like a chore. And it just, like, didn't bounce off me. It felt like watching Shadow's House, where I'm like, there's some cool ideas here, but I'm just not connecting, and it just felt like a slog. There's a bright spots here and there, but it just, I don't know. I wish I could love it as much as some people do.
Shadow's House was pretty neat, and I feel like this show is as well. It just doesn't. I honestly, I just feel like the show didn't have much of a narrative past what happened in season 1, and they definitely dropped most of the like second-class citizen stuff. I think they came back at the end a little bit where like the white-haired people were like were in line getting soup from the colored hair people or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, how did this happen? And I'm thinking, well, there's the theme again, but it wasn't prevalent this time around, for sure.
I mean, which is fair. It's taken out of a country that's trying to be good and nice and fair, but the whole thing was, hey, you guys are child soldiers. I really don't think you should be fighting. And they're like, how dare you take our ability to die away from us? How dare you make we can't fight? And it's like, okay, true, but that is a discussion worth having about their rights and what they want and not taking pity on them, sure. But that was repeated time and time again between them and their general, or them and the president, or who was kind of a goofball, or them and Frederica, or them and another. Like, it just, was recycled, and they were always shown with a new coat of paint. And Shin obviously has his own internal struggles of acceptance and carrying the load of all the people that trusted in him or wanted him to fight to the end. But just the resolution to all that, just it wasn't worth up 12 episodes of build-up. And the middle part of the season, I thought, was just a little bit too samey and slow.
So I guess what happened was they leave the Republic where they were, the 86, and they end up in the Federation.
Yeah, they got saved by the
Yeah.
Federation
Yeah.
at the end of season 1 when they had like the kind of open cliffhanger of all the characters like sprawled out dead on the ground. But
Yeah.
nope, they're not dead. They're recovered. Okay, moving on.
Yeah, and the Federation isn't really an enemy of the Republic, I guess. They're all fighting the Legion. It's kind of how I took it, but
Yep.
which makes sense because you're getting your ass kicked. You might as well band together for survival.
Well, it helps that they position a railgun like right in the middle of everywhere, so that this thing could just like blast off. And, like everyone was at risk, so then they're like, well, if we're all in trouble, let's try to bond together. That makes sense.
I'm not gonna lie. I still don't really understand what the Legion are supposed to be. Because I mean, it seems like they're just like when you die, you just become like a soldier in the Legion. But it's very fantasy based. It just doesn't make much sense to me.
And that's kind of where like the magical part of Frederica kind of irked me, because if you're gonna have this gritty war thing, which is fine, yes, I can appreciate that the enemies are these big CG spiders. Like, sure, whatever. But it's when you have, I can look into your past and see your whole mind. Like, maybe that'll be explained, but I don't think it will satisfy me. But essentially,
I don't really care.
The Legion are these like, mechanized things that everyone was like, oh, they were processed, they were made, they were manufactured, and in 6 years or whatever, they were all shut down because no one can maintain them. And we find out in season 1, hey, they're actually like surviving even longer by collecting the corpses and brains and bodies of the deceased fallen on our side and using that to reinforce, which is how you get Shin's brother and Frederica's knight to become the hive minds almost of this new army. And that's why they're like, oh shoot, they're still going to be a thing, and they're getting more powerful with the addition of human involvement. So I think that's where the Legion are growing in intelligence and longevity in a sense. So I think they're just the faceless, maskless evil, and we'll probably learn more about them. There's probably some bad people on the strings or on the other side pulling the strings, but I don't know. Well, I'm kind of interested, but also not. Like, I could just go to Wikipedia and read the thing and be like, oh, this is what's going on. Like, I don't need another 11 episodes to be like, war is pain, but also all we have, but also we need to do this and respect the wishes. I don't know. It feels callous to say something like that, but it's not a bad show. It just, I don't know if I need more of it.
It's really not bad. I mean, I didn't feel like I needed more after the first season, so I was just shocked when the second season came out, not knowing how long the light novel is or whatever. I was pretty surprised that Shin even survived this season, because I mean, I thought he got his ass blown up at the end, but then he doesn't. I'm like, what? Like, thought they were pretty clear that he got blown up at the end, but I don't know.
It's the main character, plot armor.
I mean, I guess, but it's a fucking war show. He definitely could have died there. I mean, the show can carry on. They accomplished the mission at that moment. So, him blowing up was pretty much just status quo because they were pretty sure they were all going to die anyway. So,
how are people going to ship him with Lena though? How are people going to be like, oh, OTP?
Somebody fucked up bad on my anime list because they've got Lena listed as the main character and they've got Frederica listed as supporting. I would say that's the opposite in this season, for sure.
Yeah, and you have like a couple scenes with Lena where like her uncle or whoever the like leader of it is has some really like half-baked reasoning of like, oh, I'm gonna go out and sacrifice our lives because it's been a while since I watched it, but it just seemed very like they just need an excuse for her to go off on her own and him to like have some valiant stand of like it seemed just weird. Like every moment she did have was not conducive to it.
I didn't really want Lena to sit around and mope about how people are dying for like 12 episodes anyway. It was pretty
True.
old.
Like, I didn't mind it, but the scene she did have had some pretty questionable logic to me.
I'm not even sure I remember that scene, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. Sorry. You should always take my word on everything. I'm smart.
I really also think that the show, it wasn't very smart as far as the military stuff goes. Like, they just didn't. It's definitely a military anime. There's a lot of room in here for people that like military sorts of themes to get exactly what they want, and that's pretty rare usually. Like, there's not much in the way of military anime. There just aren't, and I think it's because the audience is small. But like, here you have one that's popular actually, and there wasn't much military strategy going on, and I thought that was pretty disappointing. You know, like, you'll get more strategy out of like a Galactic Heroes or like a Crest of the Stars or something, which isn't even on on land really for the most part. I haven't seen all Crest of the Stars, or all of Galactic Heroes, but Crest of the Stars definitely not on land pretty much. But like, other than like the one operation where they were trying to destroy the Morpha, they just didn't get into it very much. And I thought that was kind of disappointing. There's politics, but there's not much, detailed strategic stuff going on. And I wonder if that's because the writer just didn't have the aptitude for it and didn't want to write it in, or what. But I don't know. I was kind of hoping for more of that, because I'm more engaged when they're going off on like a mission, and as opposed to just like bitching about like people dying or whatever, because you can only handle so much of that. But yeah,
I don't know.
All right, well, yeah,
we can score it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I thought this season I thought it was about as good as the first season. And I went back and I checked the score I gave the first season, and I gave the first season a 2.5. And then I'm thinking 2.5 is pretty low. Like, I was like, that's pretty low. Like, the show looks pretty good. It wasn't boring. So I'm going to give it a little bit of a higher score than the first season. Not much higher, though. I'm going to give it, on the merits of the animation, the character designs, the action scenes, some of the music is quite good. And I don't know, consistency, maybe I'll say, between seasons. I'm going to give it 3. I don't know. What the fuck? 3, I'll kill you. I'll kill you. I'll kill you. Out of 5.
That's pretty good. So this is funny. So this is like the first time, I don't know, it's not the only time. It's one of the few times where you've rated something lower than me, because you gave the original 86 a 2.5 and I gave it a 3. And this time you gave this one a 3, and I didn't think it was as good and kind of disappointing, and I'm going to give it 2 child soldiers out of 5. All
right.
I was really torn between a 2 or a 2.5, and really, if you went episode by episode, it could range from 1 to like 4 with the show. Like, there were so many ups and downs of quality, but overall, I just didn't find myself often excited for the next episode. I think the production woes actually didn't hurt it that badly. I think it was a solid adaptation.
Yeah.
I was expecting big drops, and there really wasn't. Like, it's a very consistent show. I think if you like the show, you are in, and you are just salivating for season 3. It's just not my thing. It's not what I came here for. I think I wanted just a little bit more variety, and you can't score a show based on what it did or what it didn't give you and what your expectations were. But I think I'm not making excuses anymore. 2 out of 5, that evens out to a 2.5. But I don't know. That seems low. It seems high. I'm torn. But hopefully, if you watched it, you enjoyed it. And if not, tell us why you did, or actually why you did like it. Let's have some positivity in here.
I really didn't dislike the
comments?
season. Like, it wasn't, it didn't hurt me to watch it. Like, I wasn't bored really. But unfortunately, as I said, I just don't think it did very much. It didn't contribute much that the first season already hadn't done. I mean, literally, like, the show ends with, let's fight this like hero unit, basically, quote unquote. That's from our past. That's been absorbed by the Legion. So in the first season, it was Shin's brother. Now it's Frederica's knight, like you said, and this didn't do anything. So To me, it's the same shit. It's the same season almost.
Yeah,
So,
I get you.
I'm not gonna watch season 3. You know, it'll come out. People will watch it. They'll like it probably. We won't have to review it, and I'm not gonna watch it because, one, I don't have time, and two, I just don't care. So it's fine. I'd recommend it if people like military stuff, or if you like you know, this is like for the Full Metal Panic crowd minus the comedy, sort of. So it's got mechas in it that are pretty neat, and
yeah, boy did I hate Full Metal Panic, so that explains everything.
Yeah. It's got explosions and mechas with spider legs. So,
and it's got Hiroyuki Sawano. You know, that's always a plus. So
yeah.
that will do it for episode 600 and something, probably 23. 623. Let's go, Jordan, of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. Follow us on Twitter at AAA Podcast. Follow the TikTok at the Anime Addicts. There's underscores in there. The ticks, the talks. There's also a YouTube channel. You can see all the stuff. It's unedited audio, so it's a little slapdash. But if you want to see stuff that we do post over there, it's timestamped.
Yeah.
It's real nice.
Yeah.
Facebook, Discord. Go to our website, AAA Podcast. I've said that 1,000 times, but that's really the place to sign up for all our bonus content, mailbags, reviews. We love it all. And I hope you have a great rest of the week. We're doing My Dress Up Darling next week. You know, there's a non-zero chance that Miyazaki will be on it. And I'm going to let you simmer with that.
He's not going to be on it.
Week. It's non-zero. It's non-zero.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. We're doing our Family Feud battle next week. I got a lot of work to do for that.
Exciting.
That's going to be a good episode, guys. So, boy, Pancake's going to hate Dress Up Darling. All right. We will see. We'll see you next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.